Hi folks, you're back with CGC Sawmill again today. Let's take a look at what we're going to do today. Today is another sawmill day. We are going to finish up a bunch of white ash that we have to mill up. And also I was going to give you a little tip of the day just to show you something. So one of the tips that I do with my potatoes, I have like a potato spot where I plant potatoes. Every fall I take a layer of this sawdust and I cover over top of the potatoes and I leave the potatoes in the ground. This sawdust acts like an insulation barrier and actually doesn't freeze the potatoes down in the ground. And then in the spring, when I dig up my potatoes that are left over that I want to create for my next seed for the next year, they're ready to go. And I didn't have to, well, one of the problems is I bring them inside, they start to rot, and I never get them through the winter. So I've found this method for the last 2 years to work, where I put sawdust over top of them, keep them insulated, and the frost doesn't get down into the ground deep enough to get them. So they're ready to go in the spring. They're all set, and they are perennial anyways, so but they need to be deep enough. But putting that little bit of sawdust on them will actually help them through the winter. So let me just show you something with this. So what we had is we had snow. This was all snow. Yesterday we got a warm day, 50 degrees and rain, and it all melted. Well, not all of it, but most of it melted. And I was throwing some sawdust on top of some snow that was on the sawdust, and if you take this shovel, you can see it's nice and hard underneath there. But if I dig in here, we will see there's a layer of snow because it's insulated so well. There's snow down in here that has not melted because of that insulation factor. It doesn't even look touched. So yep, look at all that snow. Just a light layer. I don't think there's but might be 2 inches of 2 inches of sawdust sitting on top of that pile of snow, and it has insulated it and kept it froze. So just a tip that you can use for your potatoes to get them through to the next year. So I thought I'd bring you up here to the potato garden. As you can see, this has got a lot of sawdust on it. It acts as an insulation barrier, doesn't allow the frost to go in as deep, which keeps the potato from freezing over the winter, which gives it a better chance of surviving or still being firm in the spring when I dig them up. And what I do is I dig them up in the spring, I'll bring them inside, dry them off, keep them warm somewhat, and let them start to grow eyes. Once they get the eyes grown on them, I'll cut them up and I'll replant. So I don't have to buy seed potatoes, and I don't have to worry about them actually rotting in the basement until I get a root cellar built. This is what I've been doing, is just creating an insulation barrier. And this is sawdust, and what this sawdust does is it actually fertilizes and loosens up the soil. It has a double benefit that allows the roots of the potato to spread out farther for the potatoes to grow better. I've definitely seen a better yield as I put more and more of this wood chips and sawdust on this little potato garden here. And there is doggy 1 and doggy 2. And you can see right there I have a bunch of wood chips just sitting there mulching away. And I throw it on this garden as well, which helps fertilize that garden. And while I'm here at the potato garden, we can look at some of this wood I have up here stickered. This is cherry. This was mainly off of one big cherry tree. You can see some of it has split a little bit on the ends, but it's beautiful looking cherry. 2 big stacks of cherry here. Nice looking wood. So what I did here is I cleaned off this belt. I wanted to open it up and clean off this belt. Just make sure there's not a lot of debris on it, just because if there is, it can move it from to the front to the back, which could throw your blade, right? So I cleaned that off, and I especially do that when I've been sawing white ash. It seems to create a finer powder because it's such a hard wood. So I seem to have to clean things out a little bit more often. I definitely go through blades a lot more often, which I think this blade is just about at its end. I think I got to be at least 5 logs in, maybe 6. Might be able to get another 1 or 2 out of this blade, and then I'll need to switch a blade. So one of the things I did, I brought this log down to 4 inches thick, right? So from shaving off both sides down to the 4-inch. And then what I did on the other side, you just saw, I flipped it over and I measured it out with my tape measure to see where I wanted to hit. And I was low on this side over here. So in other words, this isn't as thick. That was more toward the butt of the log. This was more toward the top over here. So what I did is I took a quarter, it looked like about a 1/4 inch is what I needed to do. Well, this might be a little bit more than a 1/4 inch, but I took that and I shimmed it under this side over here just to give me a flat cut across here. And you saw I hit full wood all the way across that. And what that gave me on the other side is it gives me a chance to get my 4x6 out of this, and I can do the next cut. I can do this cut at 7, so I'm going to get an extra 1x4 out of this log because of that. So sometimes shimming aside works to get you a little bit more, especially when one end is, the butt end is, you know, a couple inches larger than the top end of the log. You know, you can shim underneath it to, I mean, what a lot of people talk about is make sure your pith, which is the center of your log, you know, you try to cut around that. You can see my pith on this one is here, but a lot of these trees that I'm bringing down, the pith isn't straight up the log anyways, so it's, you could measure off the pith, but a lot of these trees that aren't perfectly straight, you're not going to end up with exactly where the pith is, maybe to the right or the left or up or down from where the pith is on the other end of the log. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 4x6s there. That's getting stacked up pretty high and a little wobbly. We are going to cut up this log. If I get a 4x6 out of that, we are going to stack them in a pile. I either put them with my 4x4s, which are on the other side of that, or I'll have to create a new bunk. So what I did here with this log, it's a little larger log. You can see there was a main branch that came off of here. So what I like to do is get that up on the top and take that off right off the bat. I mean, if you were doing, say me some black walnut or something like that, it may be neat to have that knot in there. If you were doing live edge, I'm not going to do a live edge with this, so I want to take that off right off the bat. So what I need to do is mainly I use these shorter posts to hold my logs. So what I did is I just brought in one of the longer posts so I could get the log jack, log roller onto it and roll it up. So we got it set in place now. I can take that one out and secure it in and take my first cut. Okay, my thought on this log, a little bit larger log. I think I can get two 4x6s out of this guy. And what I did is I shaved it down to 6 inches this time, so it's 6 inches thick. And if I go down it at its skinniest points, I can get my 8. Boy, it's going to be close. This is the side that has the most bark on the other side. I definitely have 8. So you can see the skinniest points are really close on getting my 8. So we'll give it a shot, see if we can get 2 4x6s out of this. As you know, the more 4x6s I can get, if I ever want to make them into 1xs, I can just make them into 1x6s, lots of them. Or if I need to, I can use them as posts for something. And then you see I get a lot of 1xs out of other stuff. And these are my shavings off that I cut off. They've got live edge on them, but I will take the live edge off of these and make them into 1xs. Right now I have a 6x8, and I was going to make 2 4x6s out of it, but I'm thinking now I may just keep that as a 6x8. My thought process is where I'm going to stack it, because I don't have a lot of 6x8s. So I can set that one to the side for right now, and let's put that stack before it falls over into something, and then we're going to get to this next 17 footer that will make some more 4.5 by 8 beams out of that one. And in the meantime, that guy is definitely, the blade is dull. I've gone through between 8 and 10 logs now, so that blade is definitely getting dull. We're still getting a nice cut on it. You can see there's no waviness to it. Still giving us a nice straight cut, but I can feel a little more resistance. I am getting some kickback of some sawdust into my face. That might be either due to that chute over there being clogged, which I gotta check, or it's just when it gets dull, it wants to create a little more dust in my face. Alright, so let's get to the next project. I think that's going to be it for today. We are going to stack these, move this over. We got to change the blade out. I think that's it. Thanks folks for watching.